Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu Nishmasimi Merosi Rusbas Mordechai. Sponsored by the BPP from Teaneck, Bergenfield. Refuah Shleima, bקרוב. Shira Bas Devorah Leah, mother of 5 from Bergenfield, who suddenly collapsed and had emergency brain surgery with a brain bleed. She's still in a coma, Rabbi Sai. She really needs our tefillot. Her husband is a doctor whose health saved so many people over the last year with corona and otherwise, and now him and his family really need our tefillot. Rabbi Isai, yesterday, Daniel Landau sat right over here in the Beis Medrash with us. Today he's in the hospital with his little baby, his bchar, going through a major procedure today. It was a whole roller coaster with him. We said a lot of Tehillim for this baby. Refuah Shelayma for my son, who's undergoing a procedure this morning. Rafal Moshe ben דינה ברכה. And by Gedalia Miller from Keshernafshi. Ettel Bas Faiga Shprintza, mother of 3, needs Refuah Shelayma. What is going on? Rabbi Sai, Refuah Shelayma. And somebody that's from the Chabura. He's with us every single day. He's in the hospital now. He's going to be there for a while, for a week. Moshe ben Rivka Refuah Shelayma. First thing he said when he got to the hospital is, "Oi, I forgot my Gemara." So they were trying on the chat to get him a Gemara. That's how things are these days. In the hospital, before ICU, after ICU, in the thing.
My sister's bringing him today at 2 o'clock.
We don't want to know who it is. It's private information, but yeah. All right, Yishkoyach, to his sister.
She's the nurse.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaroi. I have a bunch of Gewaldige emails, but I want to read this one because it has to do with something special to me. Hi, Rebelli. It's from Zishi Spitz. I'll introduce myself as one of your silent followers. You can consider me a Hasidic follower from Borough Park. I've been listening to your shir through the Torah Anytime app since mid-Masechet Shabbos, and I've been hooked to your shir since day one. I can't start my day without listening to your shir, and I can confidently say that a day that I listen to your shir in the morning is not the same than a day that I didn't listen to your shir. It's almost a contradiction, but not. Those days just got so much. No, because he said he listens every single day. Then he says some days he doesn't. Well, okay, yes, those days just got so much better, and I accomplished much more in business on those days. The last couple of days at Shir, you've been talking about how hard it is for you not to be able to participate in the simcha of your brother that's marrying off his daughter in the United States. I've been part of one of the Hasidic choirs where I'm very fortunate to sing at all kinds of Yiddish simchas like weddings, bar mitzvahs, Shabbosim as well. I had a booking in my calendar the past Shabbos with a customer by the name of Eli Stefansky. This booking was in my calendar for a good few weeks going back, and I haven't put much thought into it, but as soon as I heard that your brother married off this week, and I put the 2 names together, and I was just so sure that this Shabbos cousin is definitely your brother, believe it or not, Yiddish followers who you never even met from Borough Park ended up at your brother's Shabbos Sher Brachas in a hotel. I pulled into the hotel parking lot Friday morning feeling so excited, and I literally felt like I was part of the Stefansky family. There's a great line that my wife had such an honor from. It's coming up. I felt like I was representing you and like I was your shaliach at your brother's simcha. Wow, I'm not much jealous of this guy. You should see what he sent me, pictures of the different stuff they got. And so here you go. I even snapped some pictures for you. See attached. There's a little packet of chocolates, candy, Shabbos schedule every room got about. Now, what's this davening Shabbos morning so early at 8:30? What? Amoicha. This is a total chilul Shabbos. Sheino b'Shabbos tainug. We all learned that, okay, it's mixed up here because the Hebrew. We all learned that Sheino b'Shabbos tainug. And here comes the line. I just got to tell you, man, M-A-A-A-A-N, you've got some colorful family. That is such an understatement, you have no idea. Wow. Okay, we're going to have to hide some of these chevra by the upcoming chasanas, the upcoming simchas in my family. Wow, just in case you think I'm playing games with you and the whole story is not true, see attached picture of myself and your brother Rafal. You can ask him all about this. Thanks again for your amazing and beautiful shir. Here's the picture of Boy Sai. He's been there. He's done it. Yishkoyach for being a shaliach. Zishi Spitz, a guy with a great voice from Borough Park. Okay. First of all, I've never done this. Gershon, if I play a voice note, will the Olam hear it on YouTube?
Play right here.
Huh?
Right near your mic.
I'll put it next to my mic. Okay, here. I've never done this before. This is the first time. You got to hear this.
Hey Eli, how's it going? Long time no speak. Man, I'm telling you, this Daf Yomi thing, can't handle it. I haven't had to eat so hard like this in a long time. I got invited to a couple of places to watch the Super Bowl with food and to be gewaldig and geschmack and great and whatever. Not that I follow sports really, but still, the matzah shaboy. And I'm like, I can't. I'm going to miss my night seder. Night seder is the time that I chazal the daf. What am I going to do? You destroyed my priorities. I'm all mixed up. What am I supposed to do? No, I'm on my way to night seder and I got to go learn because I just can't miss the daf. I got to do the daf again and again and again.
So that's Eli Stefansky, Rabbi side. He's saying I messed up his life. I messed up his priorities. He used to go to Super Bowl parties. He was invited to all these parties. I have to say this is the first year ever that I don't even know what the score is. I have no idea. I don't want to know yet. I follow sports. I do. And I'll find out. But you have to have your priorities straight. First comes the daf, then we'll figure it out.
I don't even know what teams play.
So you missed the whole Gedimikulis. It was on the Gedimikulis. You missed that. It just shoo. Okay, anyway. Super Bowl is that's the beauty. You live in Eretz Yisrael. You don't even know when it's happening.
Basketball, baseball, what was that? Super Bowl.
It's both. It's a competition.
Was that a concert?
Okay, but the point is, Rabbi said that people are making the priorities. They're in their hospital. They're asking for gemaras. Their friends are invited to Super Bowl parties. They say, "Sorry, I got to do chazara. I have a seder." It's unbelievable. Chassidish Gaman from Borough Park. All right, so we are holding. By the way, a quick announcement. Tomorrow starts a new art scroll volume, but you have to bring both. You have to bring the older one and the new one. Mesifta is the following day. You have to bring both, the old one and the new one. And if you have, lo yaleinu, a person that you want the olam to daven, you could send it also into Ohr HaMercaz. It'll come in the Shabbos publication. Okay, so, Mantana lahad tonu rabbanon. Where are we? That's where we are? Yes. So, Daf Ayin Ches Amud Beis, that's where we're holding, like 12 lines from the bottom or so. In the Mishnah, we learned halacha. What happens if the meat of the Korban Pesach becomes tameh? The meat, we said that's the main part of the Korban Pesach. It's to eat. That's the only thing different than all other korbanos. You have to be able to eat it. And the chaylev still exists. You have the Yisrael Sakaved, you have the kidneys, all that stuff. You don't throw the blood on the Mizbeach. But what if you did throw the blood on the Mizbeach? Says Rav, you yaitza. You don't have to bring another Korban Pesach. And we said yesterday that it goes according to Reb Nosson. Reb Nosson says that eating is not ma'akev. It's very, very nice. It's a mitzvah, but it doesn't ruin your Korban Pesach if you don't. Says the Gemara, if so, Mantana, lahad tanu rabbanon, right by the wide line. Shchatei la'ichlav, you did the shchita of the Korban Pesach. Right, so again, there's 4 avodas when it comes to shechting an animal. Shchita is number 1. Then you receive the blood in a cup, in a golden vessel. Then you walk the blood to the Mizbeach, and then you throw it on the Mizbeach. So what happens if the first one, shchatei, was la'ichlav, for people that could eat, or people that eat, and the last avodah, throwing the blood of the Mizbeach, for people who can't eat. The Korban Pesach is kosher. Why? Because the main throwing the blood happened for people that can't eat. But the shechita, where that's the eating part, was for people that could eat, and that's okay. So perhaps this goes according to Reb Nosson, that it's not important to physically eat it, as long as it was shechted for people that could eat, you yaitza. V'lai rabbanon. Rabbanon say you have to physically eat it. Afilu temer rabbanon. Says the Gemara, it's not a problem. Ei machshavas oichlin v'zrika. It says in the pasuk, as we had yesterday, lefi achloi, and b'michsas midarshan means the shchita. We had this earlier. So the achloi, the eating part, has to be by the shchita. To have a bad machshava, that it's not for people that can eat. At a later stage, later than shchita, by the zrika, doesn't ruin it. That is not a problem. To think a thought of people that are not available to eat it during the zrika doesn't ruin it. Next. So we have the two shittas. We have Reb Nosson that says it's not important to eat it. It's important, but it's not ma'akev, it doesn't ruin it. Chacham say it does ruin it. You must eat, you must taste it. What if the person was, the person was sick during shchita, v'chalim b'shas zrika, whatever happened, I don't know, he's sick. He ran to the dentist, they fixed his teeth, now he can eat. Chalim b'shas shchita, v'chalim b'shas zrika. He was very good during the shchita, then he got into a big fight, they knocked him out. Chalim b'shas zrika. He's sick during the zrika. He has to be healthy from beginning to end. Kiman, name Rabbanan says all you need to do is be available to eat it, but you don't have to eat it. So even though you're sick at the end, it's not a problem. So it can't go according to Reb Nosson, because the Rabbanan say it's a problem. You have to be healthy from beginning to end. According to Reb Nosson, you don't have to be beginning to end, just in the beginning. Reb Nosson. Gavra de chazila achila be'inan. You need a person that we had yesterday, the svara, the person has to be in the parsha. If he's sick, he's not in the parsha. If he's in the parsha, he's able to eat, but he doesn't end up eating because something happened to the meat, that's a different story. But if you're not in the parsha, you don't have teeth, you're a goner. You're sick, you're a goner. During the shchita, he happened to be tahar, and then he became tamei. So what do you do? The zrika has to be done b'tahara. In other words, the kohen throwing the blood has to be tar. The kli that he throws the blood with has to be tar. The owner, the Yisrael, okay, so he's tamei. Now, you don't eat the meat. Who does this sound like? L'chayra. You don't have to eat the meat. Who's that? Nas. Kiman, Omer Belazar, b'machloike shnuya. It's not so posh. Very nasani. So now, Rashi points out something very interesting. Do not skip over this very important ta'ara. Rebbe Lazar argues with what we just said a second ago. Rebbe Lazar holds, we just said that Rebbe Nosson holds that you have to be a gavra. You have to be in the parsha. This guy is not in the parsha. He's tamei. He argues. According to Rebbe Nosson, Rebbe Lazar holds you don't need to be in the parsha. He explains Rebbe Nosson differently. And if you don't have to be in the parsha, so it changes the teretz before as well. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, afilu temra banan yochav ma'askinon betzibur. Da afilu betuma nami avdi. What happened? It's a very interesting case. Klall Yisrael comes to Beis Hamikdash to all tahar. They go to the mikveh. Everybody's in perfect condition. They bring the carbon. They do the shechita on the carbon. And all of a sudden they announce, Rabbi side, terrible, terrible news. What's the... Reb Chaim Vosner was nifter. Yeah? So the Olam runs out, like last night, I don't know if you saw it, Shem Yirachem. Runs out, giant levaya. Everybody goes. The Nasi is nifter. I'm not saying that the Chaim Vosner, I'm saying like, Zad Dugma. The Galador is nifter. They all run out in between shchita and zrika. So they all become tamei. We had, if you go to Levai, you're probably going to touch the aron, it's going to pass by you, you're going to be for tamei. So it's a tzibur. So the tzibur we know pushes off, and that's today's Mishnah. If Klall Yisrael is tamei, they're in a state of tuma, they bring the carbon pesach bit tuma. Now, when did they become tamei? Before the zrika. After the shchita, before the zrika, in between. Says Gemara, but we learned that a carbon pesach is different than all karbanos. That was in the Mishnah. On our Amud, look on top of the Mishnah, on top of the Amud, you'll see. No, not this one. Sorry, different Mishnah. Where was it? Let's look it up a second. Daf Amud Beis. HaPesach sheba betuma necha betuma. You eat the carbon, even though you're tamei. So if Klall Yisrael's tamei, and they brought the carbon betuma, let them eat it. We're concerned. This is a case they could. You're right. They could eat it. They were tar by the shchita. They became tamei, and then they did zrika. The zrika was done b'rishus, so to speak. They had the rishus. Why? Because everybody was tamei. They're allowed to do the zrika, so they were able to eat the carbon. The problem is there's a gzeira. Next year they're going to forget what happened. In a case that they were tar throughout, and they did the zrika, and then they became tamei after the zrika, now there was no shchita done betuma, so they cannot eat it. You can't eat it. You became tamei afterwards. You didn't shecht it betuma. You didn't get the heter of blood betuma. You became tamei afterwards, and they're going to eat it. Last year we became tamei. We ate, but they don't realize that last year they became tamei at a different point before the zrika, and that was okay to eat. The bailam were tamei. And they're also to eat. Okay. So, Nachama. The Mishnah says, if the basar of the carbon Pesach became tamei, which is the main part of the carbon, you have to eat it, but the chalev, the klayos, the chalev, that didn't become tamei, so you don't throw the blood. What do you do with the carbon? Toss it away. Says Rav, but if they did it after the fact, you could use it. You'll say the owner doesn't have to go ahead and bring another carbon. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, but you have to eat the carbon Pesach. You must eat. Ibai Seima, another pshat. So yesterday we said the pshat that it goes according to Rav Nosson. Now we're having another pshat. Top of Ayin Tes Amud Aleph. Sponsored by no one. Rav the Omar Rabbi Yeshua. The reason why he says that it's okay after the fact, because it goes according to Rabbi Yeshua. The time of Rabbi Yeshua Omer. I'm telling you, it's a very, very simple daf. Just a lot of words. It reminds me of brachas. You got to fly through a lot to read, but very simple. All korbanos in the Torah, half and half. Let's say the basar, the meat, the steaks that the kohen gets to eat, the Yisrael gets to eat, became tamei. The chalev kayam, but the stuff that goes on the mizbeach, we had that picture yesterday. All the gory stuff, the kidneys, that stuff is tar. What about the reverse? The steaks are good. The chalev is no good. Zorek is adam. You could do zrik is adam. Nazir. Okay, so very interesting because Rashi over here is goris nazir. Or a person that does a Pesach. What's special about a nazir and somebody that does a Pesach? That the ikar is the food. When it comes to a nazir, a person has to grow out his hair for at least 30 days. He can't eat wine, drink wine, all the stuff. But then there's a whole procedure. He has to bring 3 korbanos, oil shlamim, this, and he has to take the shlamim, cook it on a pot, and then he cuts his hair in the Beis Hamikdash. There's a special room for the nazir. Cuts his hair, takes the hair, puts it underneath the pot. Then he takes the pulki, the zroya of the animal, starts waving it together with the bread. Whole ma'aseh geschäft. But the zroya is very important. Similar to carbon Pesach, where you have to eat from the carbon Pesach. You have to use this zroya, says Rashi. Very interesting. I just made a chart down for the fun of it. What happens? We'll see in a second. Nitma chalev v'basar kayom. So the chalev, the stuff that goes on the mizbeach, became tamei. But the pulki, the zroya is there, or the steak. You could eat. Everybody could eat from the carbon Pesach. The nazir could do whatever he needs to do with his carbon. Zorek is adam. The same thing. The steak became tamei. Chalev is okay. Ein zorek is adam. Why? Because carbon Pesach is different. Carbon Pesach needs the meat. The nazir needs his zroya. So if the meat became tamei, forget about it. Bim zarak. Here's the halacha. This is what we're looking for. What if he did do the zrika? This is what Rav was saying. After the fact, hurtza. Okay, you don't have to go back. It's not. Why? Because the achila, here's the halacha. The achila is not ma'akiv. All these things are not ma'akiv. We want you to do it. We want you to eat it. It's better. It's a mitzvah. Listen to this halacha. Nitma bailam b'meis. This has nothing to do with our sugya. Just we're finishing up the brisa. If the owner became tamei b'tmei meis, he brought a carbon Pesach and you touched the corpse. You're a nazir and you touched a dead body. Lo yizroik. then you don't do zrika. V'mzarak, lo yurtza. It's too late. Why? You have to wait now 7 days. This whole process. You're out of the picture now. Something very interesting. I thought it was interesting. When it comes to a nazir has a whole process. He has to be a nazir at least for 30 days. Imagine a guy who's calling himself naziris. I don't know, 2 years. 2 years. He goes beautiful. Everything's great. He comes to Beis Hamikdash. He's doing the whole thing, the whole process. He's about to cut his hair. All of a sudden, there's a body. A guy drops dead. He starts doing CPR. Dead. Oh, you touched the body. You know what happens to him? Let me show you. He's over here. He's all the way at the end. More than all the way to the beginning. Just picture that. I want Danny Gilbert to put this ingrained in his brain. Shoots and ladders. Nazars are shoots and ladders. Fine. So, next sugya. What happens with all other korbanos that the basa became tamei and the chilev is not tamei? It's not a korban pesach you have to eat. So what do? Zrika sadam, no problem. Keep on going. Says the Gemara, I'll remind you. Yesterday we had Rabbi Shua holds habasar v'hadam. In order to do zrika sadam, you have to have meat. You have to have meat. Now, what kind of meat? There's 2 types of meat. There's steaks, and there's steaks kaviyachol v'akadosh baruch hu. The kidneys that go on the mizbeach, that stuff. It's not for human beings. It's for akadosh baruch hu. It's for the mizbeach. Does that count? Is that counted as meat? What if all the steaks are tamei, but one little kidney that's not edible for us because we have to put on the mizbeach is star? Is that part of this? Habasar v'hadam, and therefore I could do a zrika. Says the Gemara, anything is left over, even a kidney. I could do zrika sadam. What, could I mix them? No, ain't zrika sadam. Why? This is human consumption. This is mizbeach consumption. They don't go together. You can't do a half a shear from this and half a shear from that. But a oila, there's only one consumption. It's all mizbeach, the oila. Everything goes on the mizbeach. So, I feel with chatzi zayis basar. There is no basar and a varim. The steak goes on the mizbeach. I feel with chatzi zayis basar, zayis chaylev, zayis sadam. Why? Here comes a funny line. An interesting line, I should say. Hard to understand for a second, but very simple. Ube mincha. When it comes to mincha, what's a mincha? The flour, the wine, the oil. Even though it's all there. So again, I'm bringing a shlamim. A shlamim requires me to bring some flour and wine. The shlamim is a goner, some dead person touched everything. The steaks and the kidneys. Now, I have, on the side, I have flour and wine. Could I say, here's my flour and wine, let me use that as basar? Is that basar? No. The Gemara just explains, Omer Apapa, minchas nesachim. There are korbanos, they have to bring a mincha. And wine, in English, libation, I hate that word, but that's what it is in the art school. Libation. Wine, you have to pour the wine in the zbeach. Where you bring a oil, a shlamim, you have to do this. Since it's part of the carbon, it should be included. It should be like the meat. I have meat that's tar. No, it's not meat, it's wine. Kamash malan, it's no good. Says the Gemara, how do I know that I could use the fats of the animal as part of my meat? It says, habasar v'hadam, and you just said that it includes also kidneys and fats and all the good stuff. How do I know? Some people say it's Let's see if I have it. Oh. Here's the pasuk. This is the pasuk, nothing to do with our sugya. It's talking about Zrika Sadam. What does he put on the mizbeach? Hachelev, the fat. So we learn from this. So it says chaylev. Doesn't say anything about basar. So that's enough to put on the mizbeach. If I do this, then I have v'zarak. You see how it goes together? It's in the same pasuk. V'zarak hakoyen. I can do zrika if I have chaylev, I have the fats on the mizbeach. So I find chaylev. Yuseres hakaved. Ushtei klois min alon. You ask for gory pictures, I'll give you gory pictures. Where's my phone? Maybe go to another. I have another voice note. Did you hear the voice note or not? What? What? You heard it? Listen to this one. Also, another voice note today. If you need to send me a voice note, send it to Yosef. Here we go. I hope you guys could hear it.
Eli, love the email this morning from Danny Gilbert. He's actually a friend and a neighbor of mine down here in Boca. But I truly believe that many people could assign their name to that exact email, as I, being one of them, have experienced many similar things as Danny Gilbert. So thank you for reading that email. I'm sure you get many that you don't read because there's not enough time. But it gave me chizuk and hope that I too can get my brain and my body and all of the above cleansed through the graphic pictures that you display on your shir, along with all the other funny sites.
All right, Bekitzer, what he's saying is that he agrees with Danny Gilbert that these graphic images are embedded in his brain and it's doing him good. He feels like he needs chizuk in that area. So here, this is for you. This is Yoseres HaKaved. This is on top of the liver. There's a piece here, this fat. That goes on the Mizbeach. Not the actual liver, but the Yoseres HaKaved. There's also Ushtei Kloyos. Here is our in-house shoichet. He's part of my group. His son asked if he could be the shoichet. He's our shoichet, the official shoichet from the group. So if you want to be part of the group, you could register as you give in your papers to show that you... Ooh, that's a good call. As much as I love that guy that shechted the lamb for us here for the shir, I love him more because he's part of the shir. He's mishpacha. Mishpacha comes first. That guy's great. He wrote a beautiful sefer. I have a lot of... Not only that, he goes ahead and he gives there's a lot of beautiful pictures of this stuff, but this is original. This he took yesterday, I think, the day before. Here's a kidney. See this bean-shaped thing? This is the kidney. Kloyos. This goes on the Mizbeach. Gory, embedded in your brain. Nachamal, here he is. Rabbi Avraham Weiss, just 2 days ago. We're getting fresh pictures right off the press. What?
The way Agrippus did the census, let's help out. The way Agrippus asked to do the census.
Oh, Agrippus did the census on Daf Samach Dal because, again, Levi Friedman does Chazara through Zchus. Check it out on all Daf. It's a crazy invention. He puts a movie like a thing, embeds a picture in your brain. It's beautiful. So you guys that want to embed pictures in your brain, go to Zchus, do the Chazara. Anyways, here it is. Here's the picture. Here's holding the kidney right here in the hand, but the other one's a blow. Beautiful. Says the Gemara, everything would be great if the daf ended on the bottom of this Amud. The problem is that there's an Amud Beis that has even more words maybe. Says the Gemara, so how do I know Yoseres HaKaved Shtei Kloyos? Where does it say that you could throw blood based on the Shtei Kloyos? It says that only the mincha, you don't use the mincha as an excuse to throw the blood because it's flour and you don't throw on flour. But everything else that's flesh and blood, like the extra part of the kidney, this is according to Rashi, he says. This is not according to Rambam. Rambam says there's a small piece on the kaved that is fine. But that's a kidney. Everybody agrees the kidney that is included. You could throw blood. If you put that on the mizbech, you could throw the blood on the mizbech and the person has a kapara. How do you know this? Where's that? Here, in the pasuk, I use it from these words. Anything that you're putting on the mizbeach to give it a good fragrance, whatever it is, Takesh Baruch Hu, that's a kapara. I need these two words, chaylev and reach nichoyach, right here. Because Rachmana chaylev, avamina chaylev in Yoseres HaKaved Shtei Kloyos loy. I don't think it's only the fats. We had the picture yesterday, the white stuff that goes on, but not, let's say, the kidneys. Because Rachmana l'reach nichoyach includes kidneys. Because Rachmana l'reach nichoyach. So why is that not enough to include everything? But now I have to limit it. I would think it also includes the mincha, the wine, the flour. Because Rachmana Chaylev has to be something that is flesh. Says the Mishnah, there was some confusion. A few people told me they weren't 100% sure what was going on in terms of the tumah. So it goes like this. It says in the pasuk, ish, ki yeh tameh lenefesh. If a person is tameh, he touched the body, and he cannot bring a carbon pesach, what should he do? Or he was far away, next pasuk, he should bring a carbon pesach when? He brings it a pesach sheni. So with that we learned already, it says ish. This is for an individual, he can go to pesach sheni. But if Klall Yisrael as a whole, or a whole always means arrive, so 51% of Klall Yisrael is tameh in the first pesach, they bring it on the first pesach. They don't wait to pesach sheni. They do it b'tumah. Tumah, hutra b'tzibur, d'chuya b'tzibur, whatever it is, but they bring it on pesach rishon. Says the Mishnah, nitma kahalei rubai, if Klall Yisrael became tameh, or the majority of Klall Yisrael became tameh, 51%, I'm just saying 51 as it means 1,000,001 versus 1,000,000. 1,000,000 is half, 1,000,001. There's another way of tumah. If all the kohanim were tameh, you have 10 million Jews and 100,000 kohanim, let's say, and the 100,000 kohanim are tameh. Now we bring it betumah. All the Jews, all the Israelim, they bring it betumah. Yaseh betumah. Listen to this. We have to remember this. What if the minority became tameh? Then Klall Yisrael does it in the regular Pesach, the Harim guys. Those who are tameh, because they're the minority, 1 or 2 guys, or 1,000,000 people, doesn't matter as long as they're at 49%. They all do it on this Pesach Sheni. So now the Bryce introduces another part of it. Yeah, I'm in trouble. Yeah. Okay, I thought that was obvious, but good point. From the people that are bringing Korban Pesach. Good. The people schlepping in the Korban Pesach, they are the ones that are counted as the minority or majority. The Gemara introduces now Klisharis. What if the vessels, the knives to cut the animal are tamei? So now we have 3 things. We have Kohanim, Yisraelim, vessels. So now, all we need is one of those things to be tamei, that's it. Everybody's tamei. We consider it as you just bring it betumah. Even if everybody, the human beings are all tahar, but the Kleisharis are tamei, yasu betumah, shein korban tzibur cholok, you don't break anybody up. You don't break any one of these 3 groups up. The Yisraelim have to be there, the Kohanim have to be there, the Klisharis have to be there. And if one of the groups are tamei, you do it betumah. So now we have the amazing concept that we learned in Tumah, that metal becomes like the object it touches, but only in human being touching. In other words, if a sword, a metal jar, whatever it is, touches a human body, it becomes like a human body in terms of tumah. It becomes aviyah voisa tumah. If a sword, a metal jar, touches a person that touched a body, then it becomes ava tumah, like the person that touched it. It becomes exactly like the thing it touches. But let's say a sword touches a sheretz, then you don't say this is halal cherev. Halal is a human being. But if it touches a dead lizard, then it becomes a rishon. It goes down a step. All tumah goes down a step, besides this halacha right here. And maybe mashkin, we said jumps up, shoots and louder, is the reverse. Okay. Says the Gemara, if the knife, which is metal, touches a human body, then the metal becomes like the body, then it has the power to make a human being tamei. The car is kamisavid. Now everybody is tamei now. They're all in the worst type of tumah. So mamela, give them a heter, free slate. Go ahead and make the Korban Pesach. However, if the knife became tamei through one of the shratzim, the basudim tamilei. Now it's only a rishon, so the meat becomes tamei. Legaver le'mitamilei. He cannot make a person tamei. Tahirim ovid, the knife. The knife that touched the sheretz becomes what? A rishon. A rishon, here, just in case. A lot of people told me that they like this guy, this mashka. If you touch the rishon, it goes up to rishon. Fine, let me show you. A rishon cannot make the person tamei. So it makes the meat. Here, it makes the meat. Eichlin. Rishon makes the eichlin tamei. So therefore, legaver le'mitameli, ta'irim avid, tmeim le'avid. So people that are tamei cannot make the korban pesach like that. Why? Mutav yachal b'tumas basar belav, va'yachal basar b'tumas haguf shubakares. You can't take these guys. Unbelievable. We're running out of time. You can't take these guys. I had an unbelievable story to tell you. I'm kidding. I'm not going to say anything now. Can't take these guys that are tummy tumas guf and throw them into the equation and say, okay, everybody who's tummy can come and eat here. Those guys that are tummy tumas haguf, it's an isser of kares. And these guys that are tummy, the knife that became tummy is a much lower tumah. So yesterday we were discussing this whole idea: is tumah pushed off or is tumah complete heter? From here you see that tumah is pushed off according to Rav Chizda. Why? Because once it's a complete heter, everybody's invited to the party. Even people that are tummy kares, we don't have to start searching and asking you what kind of tummy you are. Everybody's invited. Just interesting, why does it say v'chein omer Rabbi Yitzchak? Rav Chizda says it because of this. That's why the Rambam passes like Rav Chizda, because of this Rabbi Yitzchak. I don't know if it's because it's two that say it or because Rabbi Yitzchak is the achron, whatever it is. Tumah tchuyi b'tzibur. V'rava Omar, afilu tmeim nami avdi. Not true. Everybody can come and do this avodah. My time in the chsiv v'habasar sheyiga b'chol tamei lo yi'achal b'shisaref. The first part of the pasuk is talking about the meat that became tamei, and then it says afterwards v'habasar kol tar lo yi'achal basar, the human being. So in other words, kol heicha de lo karina bei v'habasar sheyiga b'chol tamei lo yi'achal. If I don't have the first part, lo karina bei v'habasar kol tar lo yi'achal basar, so then I don't have the second part of the humans. Kol heicha de karina bei v'habasar sheyiga b'chol tamei lo yi'achal, karina bei v'habasar kol tar yochal basar, and therefore the people that are tamei can come along and join the party. Itmar. Yisrael mechza tar mechza itmeim. So we have a big sugya, very, very, very simple sugya, and the Gemara is going to repeat itself over and over here. What we just discussed, if most of Klall Yisrael's tamei, we do it on the first Pesach. Most of the miut goes to the, if only a small part of Klall Yisrael's tamei, then they go to Pesach Sheni. What if it's 50-50? Yeah, a theoretical question. I don't know if it'll ever happen. The 6.2157 people are tamei and the same number are tar. What if 50-50? Here, I have a picture. There you go. Half and half. Here's a lot of Jewish people and there's a line of tar, tamei. 50-50. You treat each half as the majority, and it has a big nafkamina. You don't treat them as a half, you treat them as a majority. So now there's going to be two lashonis in Rav Kahana. What does that mean? So, just to explain to you real quickly. The people that are tar, they definitely always go to Pesach Rishon. That is not a shaila. You could cut this right out of the chart and forget about this for the rest of the day. This is a given according to everybody, no machlokes whatsoever. The only machlokes is, what do you do with the people that are tamei? On half and half. Tmeim, according to Rav, they do it on the first Pesach. According to Rav Kahana, in the first Lashon, they do it on the second Pesach. According to the second Lashon, they don't do it at all. So we have three shittas here. First Pesach, second Pesach, don't do it at all. Oh, Rav Kahana Omar Mechza Mechza Ene Keroiv. Rav Omar Mechza Mechza Keroiv. You treat each group, the Tahirim as the majority and the Tmeim as the majority. Everybody does it on Pesach Rishon. The Tahirim for sure on Pesach Rishon. According to Rav, even the Tmeim, they do it on Pesach Rishon, but by themselves. Each guy does it by himself. Why? You can't join groups. Okay? Why? Because the Tmeim now are the Rav. They're a majority. Half is considered a majority. And a majority, the Tarim can't go with the majority. Tarim have to do them themselves. The Tmeim can't join the Tarim, of course not. They're Tar. So what is it? It's a miyut. It's not a roiv. They're minority. Therefore, says Rav Kahana, they go to the second Pesach. We were never, ever in the history, since we started this year, this late, turning the page to Amud Beis. Ikinamri. There's always a first. Something, the tum of the Super Bowl. Ikinamri, Omer Rav Kahana, mechza al mechza ene keroiv. And Rav Kahana says, another shita, they're not a minority and they're not the majority. What are they? Nishtahin and nishtaher. And therefore, they don't do it at all. Everybody agrees. Tarim do the first. We just turn to Daf Yomi Base, sponsored by Keshernafshi.org. Zchus, struggling kids in pain of Cholei Yisrael, for Refuah Shleima of all Cholei Yisrael, especially from our MDY family. Please consider joining MDY Tehillim group at tehillim.8min.com. Akol Parim. They can't be there in the first, they're not the majority. These Tmeim guys, they're not a majority, they can't be in the first Pesach. They're not even the minority. They don't even have a group. Fine. End this story. Now we're going to go through the whole thing all over again. The congregation became Tamei, or most of the congregation become Tamei. Or the Kohanim became Tamei. So we do it B'tumah. Rubai asked the Gemara, that's what we learned in our Mishnah. So what do we do? Rubai Udav the B'tumah. It says Mufurish in the Mishnah, only if there's a majority. What about half and half? You could be Medayik from a Mishnah. It says only when the majority is in a certain way, you go to Pesach Sheni. The Tmeim guys don't go to the first Pesach. It's only when there's a Raiv. If most of the Klall Yisrael is Tamei, then we do Pesach Rishon, regular Pesach. But if it's 50-50, you don't do it in the Pesach Rishon. Kashi Rav. Rav says you do it in Pesach Rishon. Over in our Mishnah like the Rav. Rubav the Kula B'tumah. No, what you medayik is if the majority of Klall Yisrael is Tamei, then everybody does it in one group. Even the Tahirim could do it together with the Tmeim. They mingle in the Beis Hamikdash. They could use the same karba. Palgo, but it's 50-50. That's my chiddush. 50-50 are two separate groups. And I'll prove it to you. It's such a great tzvara that it's going to be a kashmir Rav Kahana. If a minority of the tzibur became Tamei, the second part of the Mishnah, what if a minority became Tamei? Whoever's Torah, of course, always goes in the beginning to the first Pesach. It's only because it's a minority. From here I can be medayik from the Seifa that if it's 50-50, they don't go to the Sheni. And when do they do it? Like I say, in the first. It's such a great kasha. Why does Rav Kahana say they do it in the second one? If the minority became Tamei, that's how you have to be medayik. Like this pshat over here, they don't do anything. Says the Gemara, okay, but that's a great teretz according to the second pshat in Rav Kahana. But over here it says that Rav Kahana says that you do it in the second Pesach. That's a problem. It says in the Mishnah you do it in the second Pesach, but only for the miyut. No. Everybody does the sheni. So, but you medayik, it says only in the Mishnah when there's a minority. Okay, we wanted to be consistent in the lashon. We said in the Reisha the word rubai, so it flows nicely. It rhymes, roiv, miyut, but I didn't really mean only miyut. Says the Gemara. Let's try to start this at least. Tanya say the Rav Kahana betrayed Lishnei. I have a brayso that says exactly like this, that if you're Tamei, half and half, 50-50, you do it in the first Pesach. I have a brayso that says if you're 50-50, you do it in the second Pesach. I have a brayso that you don't do it at all. Mamish Astira. What do we do here? Tanya say the Rav, Hoy Yisrael mechzet Torah mechzet Tomei. We could fly through this because we read it all. If Klall Yisrael is 50-50, halal oisim latzim, halal oisim latzim, they do their own party. Tayin kolish nekam the Rav Kahana. So it says mefurish here. When did they do it? Pesach Rishon. Halal oisim latzim. Tayin kolish nekam the Rav Kahana. And now, according to the first lashon, it's corroborated brayso and mamish mefurish. Hareisha Yisrael mechzet Torah mechzet Tomei in 50-50. Torah noisin is Harishon. Everybody that started does it on first Pesach. Utmeim oisim mewen es hasheni. Like this middle guy. But Tanya Kalish Brasser, the Rav Kahana, there's another brayso that says Hareisha Yisrael mechzet Torah mechzet Tomeim. Torah noisin is Harishon. Utmeim noisin lois Harishon lois hasheni. You don't do it at all. It says in the brayso. Says the Gemara, l'Rav l'Lishna Basra. Very, very simple stuff. L'Rav l'Lishna Basra, the Rav Kahana. According to Rav, that you do it on the first Pesach. And you don't do it at all. Let's understand, why does the brayso say you do it in the middle? You do it in the second Pesach. How's Rav Kahana going to answer it? How's Rav going to answer it? Kigoin, Sho Yisrael mechzet Torah mechzet Tmeim. Klall Yisrael were 50-50. Oh, 50-50. What's going to happen now? Kigoin Yisrael mechzet Torah mechzet Tmeim. V'noshi mashli lat meim. Women. Bam. Oh, whoa, it's not working today. Oh. This is for Danny. This is for Danny Gilbert. The pritzos is going to be nimchak in his head. It's moichik. The other reasons. This is pritzos. Red skirts is also halacha. So you have women that join the group by mistake. V'noshi mashli lat meim. With the women, you have 50-50. It's only, we don't have time for jokes, but I have to tell you this, Rebekah Yaakovson. He says, why do men say Shaloi Yisani Isha? Every day, Shaloi Yisani Isha. It was Givaldic, I loved it. Because imagine if you're a woman and you have to marry a man. How gross is that? So we say, Baruch Hashem, we're not women. Okay, anyways. Now all the women are all proud of themselves. The women, no, I had to give them a little cover there because now we're going to take them out of the equation. Women don't have to bring a carbon Pesach. We're going to see soon the sheet that says you do have to. But women don't have to. So now that I remove these women, bam, bam, we're going to take them off. Without these women, suddenly, so it's not a true case. The Gemara is saying it's not a true case of 50-50. It's a fake case. With these women that shouldn't really be there, it's 50-50. But once I take them off the equation, now the tmeim become the miut. Once you have a miut, minority goes to the Pesach Sheni. Okay, we'll stop right over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Kimcha slicha. We have this Israel Mekal ben Yisrael. Achenu kol Beis Yisrael. Hanesunu b'tzorah v'shiv v'oimdim bein bayom u'bein bayabasha. Mokim yirach hanesunu b'tzorah v'v'ochum ve'il l'rayim shubu v'gula. Hashtop. Agalov zman kori b'nu marumein.
Nice. Bring this one tomorrow. You have to bring another one tomorrow. There's just this stuff. Just this volume tomorrow. Not the next volume.
Maybe you're right. You mean the art school guys? The art school guys don't have to bother bringing another Gemara. You're probably right. You know what? I'll do it with Dafka. I'm going to get into that so you guys... Litrot. Have a great day. Huh? Oh, I forgot to get this thing. Hold on, let me get my... Oh, look who's on. The tzaddik is on.
Stop 4 lines down in the medium-sized lines right before the word l'rav.
Not true. No, we got to Amud Aleph.